Alright, what's up guys? Let's get started. As promised, I said I would kind of give you guys a demonstration of the 90 watt diamond Waterstones. I also have the Vanille diamond Waterstone. We'll just save that for another video. And in this video, before we really get started, I kind of want to talk about these stones and what they're kind of designed for. So these are the diamond Waterstones. I got the 800 grit right here. I've got the 3000 grit Waterstone right here. Again, very expensive stones, $150 to $200 per stone. So let's get that out of the way right now. This is not a budget Waterstone video. We're talking about the pinnacle of performance. These are super abrasive Waterstones for super abrasive steels. On my right hand side over here, what we have is basically what these stones are used for. And these are kind of what I use. I don't use these on people's knives. I use these on my personal knives. These are the stones I personally use on my knives because I have high performance knives that I maintain the edges on, made out of super steels that are really, really hard. So these are stones for dudes that really want to take kind of that performance to the next level, but you can't take that performance to the next level if you don't know how to sharpen. These are for people that are really into sharpening and really into high performance steels. There's not really going to be a lot of advantage if you're new at sharpening and you're like, hey man, I want to step my game up and get into sharpening. These stones aren't for you. So let's get that out of the way. Sorry about kind of getting at that ad nauseum, but I just want to be clear. So these diamond Waterstones are for knives like this. The Melanica 4V, which is a really high carbon powdered tool steel, carbon steel. It's got about, close to 4% vanadium. We've got close to 1.5% carbon, and this is at 64 HRC, rock hard, really, really tough. You try sharpening this bad boy on your regular Chozera ceramic Waterstones, which are really high end, I mean, it just feels like glass on this stone. You don't get that feedback. Versus on these stones right here, you get the feedback you're looking for. We also have Melanica in M4, and again, just get crisper edges. And when I say crisper edges, higher performance, basically, if you were to take and do the Murray Carter 3-finger edge test, you can really feel off these stones that you get something that really just grabs your fingers, just that really scary, sticky sharpness with super steels that seems to be difficult if you sharpen off other stones. It's not impossible to get that sticky sharpness off other stones. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that these stones seem to perform better. The reason why is you have a really hard diamond abrasive, which is harder than the carbides inside these steels that you're cutting. But these steels aren't pure carbide, they're still tempered martensite with carbides inside. So you're not cutting pure carbide, but there's definitely a lot of carbide inside there. Again, you're going to get higher performance even on folding knives, such as 10V and S1 10V. You're really going to kind of notice that really crisp apex. If you're really able to sharpen, you'll just seem to notice it's a little bit easier to get that crisper apex on these really high carbide volume knives. M4 really seems to get really magical off these stones right here. I really enjoy it. So the two folders, Spyderco's and M4. If you're in the kitchen knives, this Akifusa, which is an SRS 15 powdered steel, which is somewhat similar in composition to something like a Crewware, but it's got a little bit less carbon and a lot more of the chromium to make it a stainless blade. And this is at 64 HRC. Again, I feel like I get crisper edges off these diamond Waterstones, so it's fantastic. So let's kind of get into it. What I'm going to be sharpening actually is this guy right here. This is a Tojiro blade. It's just VG10 blade steel, but I'm not afraid to dull it and sharpen it in front of you guys. I'm not really going to do that right now with these knives over here. These are like my favorite blades, and the steel's very expensive, and so I'm not going to just waste the steel on there. Before I get into sharpening this blade, I kind of want to talk about knives that don't really see a huge advantage with these stones, and we're talking about knives like this guy right here, your Felkneven A1 Pro. A1 Pro is going to do just fine on your Chozera stones, so there's no need to upgrade if you have the A1 Pro. While the laminated cobalt steel it's freaking awesome, it takes a killer edge, I don't really see a huge difference in the performance. So if you got A1 Pros, you don't necessarily need this stuff right here. I mean, your diamond strops will help bring a significantly better performing edge than if you're using like the waxy base strops that have, chromium oxide and aluminum oxide and stuff like that. But $150 per stone, you're not really going to see a huge advantage for this guy. If you're just into kind of budget bushcraft blades, like your more carbon steel, there's no point in getting these stones. You're going to be just happy using these, you know, cheapo King Waterstones. There's nothing wrong with these stones right here. They definitely have a lot lower abrasive volume. They're definitely a lot more binder than they are abrasive, but you're going to do just fine with these stones and this knife. And it's a great setup. I mean, you don't necessarily need all this craziness, but of course, people get into stuff, man, and people like stuff, so let's spend more money on that, a little bit more performance. So if you got a Mura, you don't need these diamond Waterstones. Let's also talk about Aogami steels, or just paper steels, not your blue steels, but just any of the Hitachi paper steels like Shirogami, Aogami. I got a super blue steel on this one, white number 2 on this one. Do you need diamond Waterstones on these? I mean, these are hard blades, right? Well, there's not a lot of carbide structure to these knives right here, so you don't necessarily need these diamond Waterstones. These will do just fine on just the King stones, actually. So definitely your Chozeros will probably be nicer for sharpening these guys, but you don't need diamond Waterstones if this is all you're sharpening is these carbon Hitachi paper steels, like your white and your blue steel. If you're into sharpening things like axes, hatchets, things like that, if you like doing freehand on the bevels and stuff on these guys, again, you don't need these diamond Waterstones for that. You guys are kind of picking up a theme right now in that the carbon steels or steels that have low carbide volume, even though if they're at high hardness, that you don't need these diamond Waterstones. Also, talking about your traditional Japanese single bevel knives with these guys right here. I mean, it is nice having like a really, really flat stone, and these things seem to stay really, really flat, which is nice. I feel like with these knives, you want a much softer stone. It's going to be a lot more easy to kind of bring up the edges you're looking for on these guys with softer, more affordable Waterstones, actually. So again, you don't need diamond Waterstones for that. Straight razor sharpening. Again, it's nice to have a flat stone for the straight razor. You know, it should just be a hair plucking sharp. I use this to shave my face every morning. Don't use these stones for that. These stones are just for high carbide volume steels. Okay? So now that we kind of got that out of the way, we can also talk about kind of what's at the edge for these stones, so to speak. I feel like S35VN is kind of that steel where you can go kind of back and forth. I feel like I get a little bit of a crisper edge off these diamond Waterstones, but I could still bring up on S35VN, on the Chozera stones, I could still bring up a good edge. But I think S35VN is where I kind of started to notice that there was kind of a little bit more of a crisper edge being developed off these stones. So without further ado, let's kind of get into sharpening. I believe I have a diamond stone edge actually on this guy right now. This is a paper cut test. A paper cut test is not going to be the end-all be-all as far as how sharp a knife is, but I don't have the best way of showing you guys at home how sharp this edge is without using a piece of paper. And you can see we're able to make these quick cuts in the paper. It's definitely sharp. So from here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to dull this bad boy. Let me see here. I'll pull out this 400 grit stone, and we'll go ahead and dull that guy down. And so for sure you can see we're not able to cut. So let's get into it. These stones are a true splash and go Waterstone. So you don't need any soaking at all to get the performance out of these stones. And we'll just go ahead and we'll do that. We'll do a part 2 actually. We'll do a part 2 on sharpening this bad boy. Alright guys, so stay tuned. We'll talk more about that stuff later.